All right, we recording?
Yep, we are recording. You what? Let me ask you today. What do we got in the cup?
We've got I've got a new brewer, so I'm using some leaf tea,
Bang.
and I've got Ayurveda Pitta herbal tea, all the
God.
way
Oh yeah.
from Mount Tambourine, sent by Uncle Andrew.
Shout out to Uncle
Shout
Andrew.
out. Thank you for that. He also sent me like this Scottish breakfast tea. It's really good too. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, I haven't tried it yet. It's still sitting, still brewing.
Mm,
So I'm excited.
yeah, that's exciting. Yeah, thanks to our number one fan.
Yeah. A number one promoter.
Yeah,
Cheap
proper.
promotion.
Oh, good.
What are you sipping on?
Um, I've got just some English breakfast teas. Um, these are from South America actually. From my good friend Dan. His dad recently went over there and brought back some tea, and I get to enjoy it. How good's that?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Mm, agreed.
Jeez, we've got some tea from all around the world.
Proper, how cool.
Very cool.
How has it ended up in this room?
Yeah,
We don't know.
yeah. I don't know. I feel like I haven't talked to you in ages. I've got so much to talk about
Mm,
because like we've gone from weekly to fortnightly at the moment. I miss our weekly weekly chats. I've just got so much. But
yeah.
today is about you, so not about me. Um, so should we get into it?
Let's do it. Yeah, I don't have much else to say.
Yeah. Sit back, enjoy.
Mm,
Um, so just like last fortnight's episode, by the time it comes out, that was Adam's soul.
yep.
This will be about Jarrod's soul, and we're looking for other souls to come on the podcast in the
Mm,
future, to bear their soul as well.
mm,
Um, so this is the start to that. We've talked about on this podcast, going from survival to creation.
mm,
And it's a big theme. So there's this character that we learned to play from the time we were young. That character learned to fit in and get the attention and love it needed to survive. So we played that character. And we're talking about how we can move to creating the character that we want now that we're able to. We don't need to survive anymore. So I guess my first question to you is, what was that? Do you have a first time, like a moment where you realized that you were more than this character that you were playing to survive, or
mm,
or that you were even playing a character? Was there like that first moment of self-awareness? It didn't need to be a big
mm,
revelation, but just some type of, I
mm,
guess, realization or awakening, as someone would say.
mm. Um, I can't narrow it down to one day. Um, but I can describe what gradually happened. Like, I remember just like during school, um, just and even like out of school, for a few years, just starting to, because I was lucky enough that you brought meditation into my life quite early. And I think that's played a big part. But just gradually over the few years, I started just finding myself in the same position over and over again. And just like a cosmic, like whirlpool loop. And I just found myself always wanting something, getting it, not wanting it, and then just being in this same like depressed, sad state. And I just remember like realizing like the habits that we do and just like slowly cluing on to how once like and just slowly cluing on to how I have no real control over what I'm doing, and I'm just in this vicious cycle and loop, and I keep getting back to the same place where I'm just yeah, without anything. And it was in that place that I'd been in this place before, and I'm like, holy shit, like here we are again. And I'm sure we'll keep going to the same place if we don't do something about it. And yeah, so for me, I think it was like a gradual just being in that loop, vicious cycle, and slowly, I'd say around like 22, 23, I finally clued on that I really haven't had much like input into what was going on. And that to me kind of told me like, holy shit, I'm just playing a character. Like I'm just doing this same habitual thing over and over again. And it keeps making me, yeah, into this dark, sad place. And that for me was when I realized that. Well, I mean, I think through learning how to come out of that habit is how I kind of realized that there's more to me than just a habitual character playing this role. Over and over again.
Cool. All right, so around 22, 23 is when you really became aware of that like cycle, those habitual patterns. I guess there must have been some awareness before that. How old were you when you like started meditating? And
Maybe like I remember mum always saying that you were into meditation and like thinking about that and stuff, and I definitely toyed with it, and you showed me. I remember I was listening to this guy on Insight Timer called Stephen Proctor, and who was all about like mindfulness and daily life, and I loved that.
yeah, I think you sent me his once.
Yeah, yeah, and that would have been like quite a while ago, like 2018, 2019. So it would have been around then that I really picked it up and put it down, right? Like there's definitely,
Moments.
yeah, yeah. And it was a very slow, gradual process. Like even now, I can't say that I'm a daily practicer.
Yeah.
Like I'm on a good streak at the moment, but still, like it's a cycle. But around that 2018, 2019, and then I went to a retreat down in Byron, like just before
Remember you
COVID.
telling me, I was like, so random. Like, I know you
Yeah,
meditated some, but like, I was like, does
yeah.
he know what he's getting himself into here?
Proper. So this was like, yeah, and this was when like the vicious cycle had happened a few times, and I was just looking for, I don't know, a way out of that, right? And like I'd known a little bit just from you telling me, and just I don't know, something about mindfulness just, I don't know, just I don't think thought too much about it, but like it pulled me in, and I followed it, which was new and cool. And that, I think after that retreat, when I really sat, was literally probably the first time that I sat and let my thoughts catch up to me. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'd lived my life always processing. Like it's like I'd always lived my life processing thoughts that I thought about a week ago. And it just kept building and building. And then I had to stop, right? I was at this retreat and I just had to stop. And we meditated for 6, 7 hours a day. We did yoga in the morning, and all we did was just clean up the retreat and cook food. And my job was, my one job, all right, during the whole thing was to bang this dong at lunchtime.
You would have loved
Boom.
that.
Yeah, it was awesome. I absolutely loved it. And then yeah, that brought all the people to lunch. That was cool. But I remember just because I'd been in the loop quite a few times here, right? And I remember just sitting down one night and writing about it. And I could finally just see what I've been doing over and over and over and over. And it's just like, wow, like how, like it was easy back then to be so like, how am I doing this? You know what I mean? Like, how silly am I? Like, this just seems like someone wrote down a string of code and I've just been following it ever since. And it's, yeah. And actually, one thing I want to say about that night when I was like writing it down, because it was like a big day of meditation, probably like day 3 or 4, and it's silent, right? Silent retreat. So no words being spoken. That's what silent means. Yeah, in case you didn't know. And I was sitting down, it was getting dark, and so like no interaction with anyone else at the retreat, right? And I was just sitting down writing, and it was getting dark, and this lady came over and like tapped me on the shoulder and gave me like a little flashlight so I could keep writing. I just remember that, and that was, yeah, thank you to that lady. I still have that little flashlight. That was very kind.
Sounds like a special moment.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
trying
And it
to
was
play
like,
it down, but man, those little moments, isn't it? Like that sounds like one of the real first times of presence. Like you can meditate, like you said, and be with your thoughts and stuff. But I think we always remember that first real present moment.
yeah, yeah. And I think, yeah, agreed. And I think it was there, man. And just looking out, because it was in the hills of Byron and it's just so pretty. And I was just like, it was like the first time that I let my body be slow enough to process what was happening.
Powerful.
Yeah.
Stop and listen.
Stop and listen, right? Yeah. Yeah.
Let
More.
the mud settle.
Yeah. Because it was just always more until that
That
forced.
conditioning, though.
Yeah. Yeah, great. So I'm very grateful that I just fell into that. And then I read Eckhart Tolle's not The Power of Now, the other one, A New Earth.
Yeah.
And that really like started cluing me on. I got some knowledge about it and I was like, wow, this is a real thing.
And it is a process, right? Like you said, it's like small and like when you became aware of your habits and your cycle, doesn't mean it stopped.
No, and it definitely didn't. Let me tell you right
It
now,
can
it
make it
definitely
harder
didn't.
at the start, right? Like it
Yeah.
opens this whole can of worms because you're like, I'm aware of this. I should be able to, and then it like opens up your reality to all these other things and it actually makes things a lot more complicated.
Yeah. A lot
Instead of
more
just closing
complicated.
your eyes and more.
Yeah, exactly. And just vicious cycle after vicious cycle. Because, yeah, that's what we're used to, right?
It also opens your eyes to this beautiful world of presence and
Yeah. Yeah. And I think,
love and
yeah, that's the key, right? The acceptance and the love. Because you can just like, I remember looking at myself and just being like, you're a fucking idiot. Like, how could you be so blind?
but that's again the mind trying to
And I slipped straight back in, right? Like
yeah,
when you reach that,
that
and then
judgment
that's the
mind.
judgment, and then you follow that. That's how you get back in.
It's that
And yeah,
cycle.
that's the cycle. Yeah,
Mm.
just a new cycle.
Well, I'm gonna put it here. I'm excited for you to start creating a daily practice. It's about time
Yeah.
you get there.
Thank you. Thank you. Agreed. Agreed. I'm on a good streak at the moment, and I think thanks to this podcast, really, because I feel, yeah, I feel a commitment to my healing now. Like I feel a commitment to myself, and I feel like that's a part of loving myself and accepting myself. Yeah.
Can you tell us a bit more about that character you were playing? I guess that character you developed to survive and fit in, and maybe some of the things that that character went through that you're healing from now.
Mm, yeah, definitely. Um, so I think a big theme that has emerged out of my childhood is just like separating myself from the group. I've always felt a lot safer by myself and a lot more just like in control and less hurt. And I've always seen, you know, joining the group as like danger, and so that's really made me stay away from close friendships, relationships, and stuff like that. So that was, I think, the character I was playing, but also just like the idea that like a liked lone wolf, right? Like I had to still, like there was still so much pressure to have people like me,
Mm.
but um but I couldn't join the group, you know what I mean? Like, and that was the character that I wanted to play.
Were you getting, I guess, that attention you were craving by being that lone wolf, like being that
Mm,
doing the different thing and not following the crowd?
mm, yeah, but like I think looking back, like I don't think I was very good at it, right? Like I don't think,
Had to have worked though, right? We wouldn't
yeah,
it wouldn't have been our survival technique if it didn't work some way.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think just a big, like deep confusion and like always. So I think like the liked lone wolf, right? Like I think that is just a perfect like metaphor for my confusion towards life. Like I had these deep desires in me to fit in, to connect, to really be myself. Yet the other side, the pull away from that. And it kind of made me
Mm.
this character who sat in the middle a lot,
Do you
never
know what the
pushed his
belief was
opinion.
there?
The belief,
What would happen if you joined the group?
yeah. If I joined the group, I wouldn't, I had to fight for myself, right? In a way, I had to get mine or whatever, but also another belief behind that, just as strong, was the belief that don't make yourself big enough to make people not like you, right? So there's two,
Conflicting.
yeah, conflicting beliefs there, right? Like get yours, don't like like so that's why the lonesome route works, because I don't have to either fight for survival, and I don't have to um, make people like me for survival, So it's all just avoidant of those two conflicting,
So the
which
best
just
way to survive was to avoid.
avoid and just go with the flow and um, yeah, just find a middle ground where I could partake in this community, but my mind was never there, right? Like I was always just elsewhere, whether it be video games or like in my room. Even reading was big for me, like just always. That might sound a little confusing, but I think that's the theme of it. Like I was I was a confused boy, right? Like very just very confused.
And it
And
sounds
it's
like you spent a lot of time alone.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, because of that, I think. Like I didn't really feel like I fit in, and I didn't really feel like a need to fit in, but I also felt that I had to be liked.
Mm.
Yeah.
Can you give us an example of, I don't know, a time or, something that happened
Mm.
that, caused, I guess, some distress or, I don't know, a big moment, I guess,
Mm.
that you can like reflect back on now that
Mm.
influenced you and in that way to become, I guess, that survival needs?
Mm. I think um, like growing up with two older brothers, right? I had to fend for myself and get mine. Um, but I do remember just like seriously like looking up to you both. Like I remember like I remember just like changing my because I guess I didn't really have much else to go on, but I remember just like changing my likes and dislikes to what you guys were liking at the time, like even music and stuff. And I think that was a way for me to, because I saw you guys fit in the outside world, and that was a way for me to fit in the outside world without really knowing when I really, yeah, felt a desire to, yeah, not fit in as much. I guess I've always kind of just been a bit more connected to that feeling within me that craved the solitude. And I think I realized from a pretty young age that I can't just sit in the toilet at lunchtime and be alone because
Is
that
that something you
feeling,
did?
yeah, of course, yeah, especially
Was
when I
that
moved schools.
was that before then as well?
I think so. Like I remember because I moved schools twice, right?
Mm.
Um, like I came across to Ryan early and then I moved to the Sunshine Coast. Um, but and in saying that, like people have always been so nice to me, like, but it's just that, yeah, avoidant nature to let
Were
them
you were
take
you
me in, I
anxious
guess.
or was it avoidant of what feeling were you avoiding,
Yeah.
do you think?
Um, I think I just had this self-belief in me that I was just awkward and anxious, and that would make me avoid even just like talking to people or being led into circles and stuff like that. Like it would just make me want to not um, partake in that whole thing. And I think like the funniest thing, like through my grade, ever since I moved down to Sunny Coast, right, and I moved that school, like I was the quietest kid, right? Like I would sit with my group of friends and just not say anything at lunchtime, right? And
Wow.
that was my life. You know what I mean? Like I would just, and I can like single out a few people in school who I felt truly like safe around and like I would like be able to speak to, but it wasn't many. It wasn't many at all.
Which is crazy
Um,
because if you ask anyone now, like they don't
mm,
believe me that you're an introvert. Like,
yeah, yeah,
yeah. And like,
yeah,
look at this voice you found.
yeah, yeah. Agreed, agreed. I think
Like,
I,
I didn't realize this. I didn't know this. Like that
mm,
even if you ask me, like,
mm,
yeah, we're so focused on our own things, aren't we?
yeah, yeah, agreed. That transition from I think when I moved down to the Sunshine Coast, like I remember, I remember just being like the few months when I learnt that I was moving from Townsville to the Sunshine Coast, like I was just like full send, like I was so confident because I knew I was leaving, right? Like,
Yeah,
and nothing mattered, like in my head,
yeah.
and
And how cool you go on the sunny coast.
yeah, right, everything. And then I got there, and there wasn't a parade for me,
Why aren't these people parading around? I'm here.
right? I
Yeah,
returned, and there was
reality.
reality, yeah. And that was just the biggest ego build up,
Mm,
and then the biggest ego smack to the face.
mm,
Like I think that was my first like reality
mm.
exists, and I'm not the director here. Right, that was like my first.
What was that first moment like? Do you remember like when you first realized that? I'm not that confident person here.
Mm,
You know, it's not gonna work here.
yeah, yeah. I just remember. I think my first day, man. Like my first day, it got to lunch. I just didn't know where to go.
Mm,
Like I just walked around and yeah, spent some time in the toilet and then and just I was just so lost. I was just like, where am I? Like a literal feeling of lost and loneliness. And
mm.
yeah, it was
Can you
cooked.
describe like what that feeling feels like inside?
Definitely scared. And the feeling is a hot feeling within me. And like, it's like, when your face turns red,
Mm,
like it's like that kind of feeling, like an embarrassment
mm,
and just like and yeah. So the feeling is like an energy, a hot energy in me that moves up. And it's embarrassment, it's scared, it's loneliness, it's yeah.
Do you still feel yourself go to that place sometimes now?
Yeah,
That little kid
yeah,
hiding in the toilet.
yeah, proper. I do.
Yeah. What
Um,
usually brings that on now?
putting myself out there,
Mm,
making myself not even make myself big, but not making myself small and expressing how I feel. Like truly expressing how I feel and just yeah, just being honest. But like honestly, now I love that shit. Like when that feeling comes now, I'm like hell yeah,
yeah. But that's when you're present, right?
yeah, yeah,
Like if you're unconscious and
yeah,
you've had a big day or whatever, and that,
yeah,
you put yourself
yeah,
out there, do you still go back there?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, yeah. Especially
Like
at
you're in that
work,
survival mode.
when I've been looking at the computer for the last 6 hours and I've been
Yeah.
very
This is
yeah,
a big one, I think. Like
yeah,
getting lost in those screens and then going straight back to that
yeah,
survival mode. Hey,
yeah, yeah, which is tough. Yeah, I hope that makes sense, but yeah, I think maybe there was a realization in there that it was like this want, yeah, like, and then from there on, like from that point, I was always just a fence sitter, and I always loved the word ambivalence because it just, I think, just described me perfectly. Like I never put my opinion
mm.
in, and I never, well, like I would make it seem like I put my opinion in, right? But I would just be agreeing with others. Um, and I would just sit on the fence with everything. I would just make everyone happy, and that was literally the character. Make everyone
Mm.
happy, you will survive.
Yeah, fit in.
Fit in, yeah.
Mm.
And that's
Yeah,
where I
thank you
think
for
I.
sharing that.
Okay, thank you. I don't know where that came from. I haven't reflected on that for a while, so
Yeah.
thank you.
No,
I
it's good to
think.
hear. I didn't know. Yeah, I don't know much about. I'm so interested in this. I don't know much about
Mm,
your story after you
mm,
left. Like,
mm. I think that's where that outgoing and like confident face gets built from. Like I just
mm,
kind of had to figure that shit out.
mm,
You know what I mean? Like I
had to
just,
become a chameleon.
yeah, I just had to become a people pleaser. You know what I mean? Like a real happy, excited people pleaser. Put on a smile. It'll make people happy.
Mm. Was there a
Yeah.
stage where you like found your group, do you think?
After school, yeah, yeah. Like I knew them in school, but yeah, I'm so grateful for the group that I
Mm,
found after school.
mm,
Um, yeah, just got rid of all that. I don't know, like a school hierarchy pressure.
yeah. And it's
Right.
like if you could tell kids like this social bubble isn't real and
Yeah.
just wait a few years until
Mm.
you like get out of it and
Yeah.
you're in the workforce and you just hang out with who you want. It's a
Yeah.
different world.
Yeah.
Hey,
That's it. Hang out
school
with who you
is
want.
the most intense social thing in the world. Like
Yeah.
it's not even about learning. It's about learning to fit in, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like
Mm.
such a tense time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So much pressure.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Intense time. And it wasn't like, and then after that, I would just come home and play video games. And
That was your outlet.
that was my, I wouldn't say outlet. I'd honestly say escape.
Yeah. Safe
That was,
place?
so that was my safe place. Safe place in a way, like, how when you sit down and you meditate, you kind of reach your safe place. This, for me, was an escape. So I couldn't process
Distraction.
I couldn't process what I'd been through whilst
Mm.
playing.
Yeah.
Right. 'Cause it
Which
was
is
just
funny,
adding
like
more.
how you said at that retreat, it just all caught up. It's like
Yeah.
you just like pushed it away
Mm.
for so long because you didn't want to process it,
Mm.
which is what a
Yeah.
lot of us do. Hey, like,
Yeah.
and the hard thing is like you come home now and you got social media and all these things. You can't get away from
Yeah.
that bubble anymore. Like, there's
Yeah.
no, you know, I didn't even have that. Like, I didn't have like Facebook until I was like 14. I don't think it started.
Mm.
Like, yeah, it's scary thinking
Yeah.
that social pressure is just constant now.
Yeah. And it's that escape, right? And people can't, like, how, so the dopamine hits and stuff, like it's the same thing with video games, right? Like it keeps the heart rate high, it keeps the blood pressure high. So that, like, think about that's the opposite to meditation, right? Where you can process your feelings, you can catch up. And this is just more, more,
Mm.
like social media and stuff is just more pressure, more stuff to process, right? You're already not caught up.
Mm.
But
There's yeah,
the magic is that you can always, like, no matter how deep you are in the not processed stuff, you can always start and always get better. You
you
know,
always just stop.
yeah, you can always just stop. Even one breath, man, like it just
Makes a difference.
makes a difference. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. I was thinking about this morning. It's like we're always seeking, we're always, whether it's like money or like fame or peace
Yeah.
or, time or
Yeah.
escape, we're
Yeah.
always seeking something. And there's like the future, right?
Mm.
And I think our minds trick us that the future's real.
Yeah.
Like we think it's a real
Yeah.
place.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not real.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you can't get anything in the future because the
Mm.
future's not, it's not a place. It's in your mind
Yeah.
and the past too.
Mm-hmm.
Like we live in the future and the past most of the time and they're not
Yeah.
real.
They're not real. Yeah.
The only
Agreed.
place you can actually get anything is here.
Just here. Yeah. How
It's
crazy is
just,
that?
that's just, I don't know,
Mm.
man. I just thought about that and I was like, what are we doing?
Yeah. So
You
why
know?
are we there? Yeah.
Yeah. But all right, enough about my strange revelations.
No, it's good. That's
So
good.
I've got from you like there's obviously been, you know, some things growing up that, growing up with us, you learned to fit in that way and then having to, change schools and pretty much start again
Yeah.
and learn how to fit in again. You created, I guess, this character that liked, solitude, is probably anxious, didn't like that
Mm.
feeling of like, I guess, social pressures and
Yeah.
you escape through games and
Yeah.
I guess you then experienced some type of presence through some meditation and you went on that tree and for the first time you sat with
Mm.
yourself
Mm.
and then I guess that you became aware of it, but it still had that cycle.
Yeah.
And you still had that cycle of habits that survival character had. And
Yeah.
you could see that and seeing that within yourself didn't necessarily make it easier, but
Yeah.
you were aware at least.
Yeah.
And
To
then,
start.
is that right? And then
Mm.
you get to about 22, 23, where you said you'd then started to, I guess, be more aware of how you could create a new character.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. And therapy helped a lot with that. I
Cool.
think I just didn't know where else to turn. Like
Yeah.
I
Where did
was
you start that?
Where?
When? Sorry.
When? Last year. So at the beginning of last year, I just had enough, and I had some supportive people in my life at the time who also had enough. So I'm very grateful for and the therapist that I found. And just to go into that a little bit, just really uncovered just like this massive ship and this basement just filled with insecurities, right? I'm not enough. Yeah, just a lot of that. And the process was just understanding and accepting. And that helped me a lot. And that's freed up a lot of space for me. So when things happen now, I can have space and I can feel like I now have a lot more opportunity to choose different paths out of the cycle, which is an incredible feeling. I don't think I can even explain to you how grateful I am. And that feeling when you do it is the most energy I've ever felt in my life run through my veins, and just like, holy, we can do it and we can transform, which is cool.
Can you give us an example, I guess? One of those insecurities that you're,
Yeah.
or one of the revelations, I guess, in that therapy and I guess that healing journey. You're still very much on, but still
Yeah.
very, very early for you. But
Yeah.
one of those things you had to unpack.
Yeah. So, it was just a big theme of not being enough. So that came out through just like not being, so there was a few. So I was not attractive enough. I wasn't funny enough. I wasn't smart enough. I didn't have any talent. And there was one more.
Some pretty big beliefs.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're like coming to everything from a place of lack.
Yeah. And I wasn't confident enough. That was, I think, one of the biggest ones that I'm working on now is the confidence one. But yeah, so to maybe dive into one, like let me,
Was your belief that you needed to be attractive, that you needed to be funny, that you needed to
yeah,
be liked, that you need to be confident? Like,
yeah.
I need to be that to fit in, and I'm not.
So I think the I guess friction laid in me thinking that I was an 80 out of 100
Mm,
in these categories.
mm-hmm,
And then every day I would wake up and I would
mm,
have interactions with the world that would make me think I was a 20,
mm,
right? And that shock every time just, yeah, I think reinforced like this fact that I needed to be up here,
mm,
but I was down here.
mm,
And just like that, yeah, that gap hurts. That gap holds a lot of, a lot of suffering.
mm.
Um, which, yeah, is not fun to deal with on a day-to-day basis, right? Um,
Did you get attention growing up for, I guess, being attractive, being funny,
Definitely. I mean,
being
the eyes, right?
confident? Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. David Jesus is in his book, but like that's, those things are where you got that attention,
mm,
so that's what you think you need to
mm,
then live up to, right? Like that's how
yeah,
you validate yourself. I need
yeah,
these people to tell me I'm attractive every day
yeah, yeah.
because I don't believe it myself.
I don't believe it. Yeah, it's right. It's like that need versus belief, right? Because when I would enter a situation, right, I would be like, I need to express this out to the world, and then I wouldn't, right? So it's like,
Mm,
I mean, sometimes I would, right? It fluctuates, right? And then sometimes you
mm,
get a little bit of, yeah. So yeah, it's funny. But just the biggest thing for me was just not even trying to be that 80, just accepting the 20, right? And like, I know that sounds kind of sad, but honestly, like, it's all right down here. Like, now when a awkward situation arises, right? Or I'm not as outgoing as I need to be in a social setting, or I don't speak up, I'm just like, oh yeah. Like, I'm not that confident person. And that's,
yeah, and that's
that's
okay.
fine. Yeah. I'm me, you know what I mean?
Oh, I
Like,
could
I have
relate
these,
so much to that awkwardness thing at the moment. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, the awkwardness one. Yeah, just
It's okay to be awkward.
it's so okay. Because once you're
Mm.
in it, like, and once you can be with it, like, it's not that
It's just a
bad.
feeling.
It's just a feeling, and people actually don't hate you for it,
Mm.
which is wild.
It's funny, yeah. This is the big one I'm sitting with at the moment too, so it's
Yeah.
good to hear.
It's a good one, eh? And just like,
Yeah.
I've been toying with just like embracing the silence.
Yeah. And
Like,
that comes from intention, right? Like that's your
mm,
intention. I'm going to embrace the silence. So
yeah.
then your perception of the silence isn't I'm awkward,
Mm,
I everyone's going to hate me, I'm not
yeah.
enough.
Yeah.
It's like, you
Mm,
know, I'm embracing my silence. I'm coming from a place of acceptance and
yeah.
this is okay
Yeah.
and I
Agreed.
could do this.
Yeah. 100%. And once you can accept yourself, a whole new ballpark, right? Because once you can accept that you're not this confident, outgoing character, that's all you need,
Mm.
man. Like, that's all you need to, yeah,
Like
find.
even now, I'm sitting here going like my brain wants to go like oh like one of my things is like perfectionism whatever. But like I'm thinking
Yeah.
like, am I asking the questions right? Am I
Yeah.
interviewing Jarrod good? You know what I
Mm,
mean? And it's just
mm,
like no,
mm.
it's
That's,
perfect as it
yeah.
is. Like my
Yeah.
intention is connection. It's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. And that's the biggest step, right? Like, just that. I'm reading, Anne Lamont.
Mm.
I'm reading her Bird by Bird book at the moment,
Oh, cool.
and which is about writing. Um, and yeah, perfectionism is just the biggest block. Like, I'm
Mm.
sure you relate this to a lot in your life, just not doing shit because of
Mm.
perfectionism.
100%.
Like, and you're just trying, like, you have to do it perfectly. And this is the perfect example, this podcast, because like, um, although it is perfect, like, not in the objectively good podcast realm.
Mm. Mm.
Um, we're kind of creating our own standards, which I think is really special and cool.
What makes it perfect in its own
And
world.
yeah, what makes it perfect?
Yeah.
But yeah, she talks about that block and how it just ruins so many good writers, and she just talks about just doing a little bit,
Mm.
and I think that's so special. Like, even if it's shit, just do a little bit of that. Yeah, whatever you need to do. Because I'm sure that blocks so many people from exploring that creative side of themselves.
Mm.
Mm,
Yeah. I'm not good. I'm not. can't do because I'm not good. Like
Mm.
I'm not good at this. It's just
And I
these
have to
beliefs
be
saying
good.
I have to be good.
Yeah, but yeah,
Yeah.
because it's like it's okay to not be good,
No, it's not.
right? Yes, it is. Right? You have to
Uh,
come from that place of.
but
I
I
think that.
have to be right. I have to be good.
Mm, mm,
It's that
mm,
belief, eh?
I've been struggling a lot with um like making. We talked about this the other week. Like I think it's the same as you. That rejection and making yourself small. I've got a few more maybe insights from that as my brain's been processing it. So the accepting of compliments.
Yep.
Um, Someone says, "Wow, Adam, you're amazing," and it's really hard to accept that because I'm. This is. Let me project on you for a little second. This is what happens in my brain, but um, you can't accept that you're amazing because the next day you wake up, your brain tells you that you have to be this amazing person,
Mm,
right? And if you're not this amazing person, then you've you've let this person down, you've let yourself down. Like you just can't let yourself be this amazing person, right? But in saying that, like it feels like a pressure, right? When people compliment and stuff. But in saying
wow.
that, that belief is wrong. Like, whew,
I
so
felt
so
that a lot.
yeah, right. Like you
You
just
described that so well. Yeah.
yeah. So in saying that, I think the way through that, right? So you get called amazing and you feel the need the next day to come out as this confident Adam because you've just done something incredible, right? But your energy levels are down, you're exhausted, right? Um, I think just seeing it as adding, like, you know how we talked about the scale, just like 20% confidence, that compliment has made you 21%,
Mm.
like instead of an 80, right? Yeah, I think that's cool. That's what
Yeah,
I'm
that's
playing with at
cool.
the moment. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I'm keen to hear about how it works.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see.
I think I just have learnt to, yeah, I just kind of accept it and let it go. You know
Mm,
what I mean? Like I'm trying to see it as like, because yeah, I get the same friction that comes up,
mm.
and that is right. You're right. It is then the need to be that way, isn't it? That pressure.
Yeah. And that opens the door for rejection. Your body knows that. Like that
Yeah.
opens the door for you to be the pain, the pain is being brought down. Like that's the pain,
Mm,
right? It's you thinking you're an 80 but being a 20. Like
mm,
that's the pain. So when you
mm,
yeah, I think slowly and surely build that up. Like it's a practice and it's a
mm.
long-term practice of like you're not going to become confident overnight. Um,
That's where I
and
think
yeah,
like my practice is really important because
yeah,
if something like that, I don't wake up and go, well, I do. My brain goes, I'm gonna be this person, but
mm,
I I have this thing where I don't listen to my thoughts before I've meditated, or
yeah,
I
that's
try not
cool.
to. Like I just remind
Yeah,
myself,
yeah,
no, like, and I get in
yeah,
the cold shower, and that helps me
mm,
be like, no, they're not
mm,
real.
yeah,
And then I go and meditate, and I feel better. Like
yeah,
it doesn't always work, but try to remember that, like just
mm,
not to feed into those
mm,
because they're so strong in the morning when you wake up. Hey,
mm, yeah.
so strong.
Which is weird. Yeah, great. Yeah,
Yeah, cool. Thank you for sharing.
of course. Yeah, rejection's huge. Hey.
Yeah.
Mm.
Um, was there anything else you want to share on that? Or are you happy for me to go to the next question?
Yeah, let's carry on.
Yeah, so I guess you're on this healing journey now and you started this
Yeah.
transformation. I'm curious into like what you're creating at the moment
Mm,
and then the dream for the future.
mm.
Like this character, what is
Yeah.
this journey at the moment? Like this
Yeah.
magic you're creating? Because I can
Yeah.
see so much.
Oh yeah. Um, so I think I could clearly put a divine in my life at the moment between what I'm doing to survive and what I'm doing to create.
Because
Obviously,
that survival's always there, right?
yeah, and it's the job, and it's like certain people that I hang out with, and it's money, and it's all the bullshit that I do.
Mm.
Creating wise, I love yoga, right? That has my heart, and it has for a while now. And this podcast, I think, is very special to me, and just um, voicing and like finding my voice, um, will be has been a big move towards the creation. Um, Finding my own voice, right? Because I've always just been a big people pleaser and stuff. Um, Journey wise, I have always had, like, currently, I would just love to become a yoga teacher, right? Like, that'd be cool. But I want to still participate in society in a big way. Like, I still want to use my what I've learned and how to, like, I kind of want to leave a bit of an impact through helping people. And I think I do that through partaking in society really carefully and mindfully. Not carefully, but mindfully. Like, I think risk aversion is going to be, wait, what's the opposite to risk? Like, risk,
Safety.
nah, like I want to take risks is going to be a big part of it. Like, I want to push myself and stuff, but I do feel a need to help people cope with and handle reality
Are you not doing
in
that through what you're
reality.
creating?
Yeah, I think this is definitely a start.
But even yoga, like,
Yeah, no, I don't, because I want to help the people who maybe don't have yoga, right? Because I mean, if you have yoga, then you've already kind of found your breath, right? Like, I want to help the people who are stuck in the vicious loop and they never had the opportunity or a cool older brother who showed them meditation or
yeah, Chris is pretty cool.
yeah. Play it down, buddy. Like, I want to, I think there's a lot of gold there.
Can you like say right now to the universe, you worked out who you want to help.
Mm,
Can you think of maybe a way you could do that? Like by creating something.
mm, yeah. So, like, take an inner city sanctuary where you come in, right? Put your phone in this box and you go in and there's just teachers and there's yoga classes and you only have to come for an hour, right? On your lunch break from your 9 to 5. And
Oh,
you
how
just
powerful would that be?
come in, and you can do whatever you want. There's, just there's weights, there's recovery, there's all those gold that people have found ways out of the pure survival mindset, because there's so many good ones out there, and not just yoga and meditation, right? Like, and you can just come in and disconnect and connect with yourself, right?
Space for healing,
A space to catch up, man, to process, to
self-care.
self-care. Yeah, I would
That's
love that.
cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah, I've never voiced that before. That's just been in my head. So thank you for bringing that out.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I
It's
like that.
it's cool when you say it out loud, eh?
Yeah, agreed. And just like, doing it on like we've as a society created this reality, right? Like society has spawned this capitalism mega structure thing that interacts through like making money and stuff. Like it's just a fact.
Like a god. We
Yeah, it's like
worship it.
we worship it, and I just want to maybe help people just escape for that for a second. I don't know, escape is the right word. I just want to help people deal with it
Not
better.
escape.
Yeah, I just want to, yeah, or just be okay in it. Stop the.
It's just a space where you can just be yourself.
Yeah.
Have
Yeah.
a break from the reality you live in.
Yep.
It's you time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like no clocks.
Yeah. No clocks. Yeah, that's a good one. I like that. Wait, and free tea. Free unlimited tea.
As much as you want.
And there's like we have a few staff who aren't, well, we just pay people to listen. Like that's their whole job, is just to while someone's working out, they just follow you around and listen.
Yeah. If you want.
If
Or
you
if you want to be
yeah.
left alone and not talk to anyone, that's okay
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's cool.
Mm.
Yeah, I can imagine this now. Cool.
Mm.
I love it.
Thank you.
So that's like creating in the external world a bit, like how you can help people. And what are you creating in like your personal life? So like it could be little moments throughout your day, in your work, in your relationships, your friendships.
Yeah.
What are you looking to create there?
Through honesty and truth, I'm looking to create really deep connections that I've never really had in my life. That's pretty much what I'm exploring. And that's probably like a sole focus. Like there's not much outside of that.
Like we talk about being awkward, but like when there's that awkward silence,
Mm.
like on the other side of that is vulnerability, and then the
Mm.
conversations are so much different.
Yeah.
Like, it's like if you just both talk and you get along, it's like we both know what game each other are playing.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's not
like,
deep, is it?
like, well done. We just had another good conversation about the footy. Go us. Look at us, look at living life.
I find it so funny when me and you have those type of conversations.
Yeah.
It's like, I know what you're doing.
Thank you.
Don't even try that on me.
Literally.
But it's so easy to slip back into that. Hey.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just comfort. Yeah. Cool.
Beautiful. So like deeper connections and
Yeah. And through honesty. Just honest.
if there was a piece of advice, a learning and teaching, a whatever you want to call it, that you want to share or you could share, I guess. I'll start this way. Like, what would you tell, I guess, that younger self that wanted to escape, wanted to avoid, didn't want to use his voice, has felt like he had to fit in and hide? What would you tell that younger self now?
Just that, like, honestly, just like keeping on the theme, it would just be honest. And don't, I mean, like, I'm so grateful for my journey, right? And everything that I've experienced. And I wouldn't have experienced that without saying, I don't know, being this character. So I think
It could be another little kid that's going through.
Yeah. Yeah. Just be honest. Like, it's a lot less lonely being honest with one person than it is being unhonest with hundreds.
That's a
all I got.
beautiful. I think that's a beautiful way to end.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh,
could I add one more? Can I edit
yeah,
this
you
out?
can. Yeah.
You could edit this out or just leave it out.
Mm.
What fear are you looking to face?
Deep fear in me that wants to keep telling me that, I don't know, this might be a bit abstract, but like keep telling me that I know what's going on, like a lot of the time. And I think, so the fear is letting go, that if I let go of being right, then what will happen is, my world would explode, right? Like I would just fall to pieces and die. That's the abstract one.
I like it. What's something uncertain we could do to challenge that?
I think following that rejection thing is just really opening myself up to fragility and being hurt and being open to, and just trusting that if I don't end up fitting in, that's okay, right? Like it's like that. And that's the whole thing about vulnerability, right?
I was gonna say being vulnerable.
Being fucking vulnerable. Yeah. Over tea.
Over tea.
Yeah. I think it's just, the fear is, or the belief is that if I open myself up to rejection or being hurt or being placed out of the group, then I won't survive. But I know that that's not true through knowledge. And yeah,
But knowledge is one thing, and I
experience is
guess
another.
yeah, and that's why like you have to be vulnerable, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the essence, isn't it? That's the uncertainty, that's the vulnerability, and that's why like you cannot have creation without vulnerability
Mm.
because it's something new, it's something uncertain.
Something new. Yeah. And a big part of that is not making myself small. So even when, like I did this triathlon on Sunday, right? Let's go.
Congrats, man, that was huge.
Thanks, dude. Yeah. See, normally this conversation would then follow with me saying, "Oh, I was super slow."
Yeah,
Um,
that's what you said to
and
me
playing
straight
it
away.
down.
You were like, "Oh,
Yeah.
like, my run leg was."
And it's not that I want to make myself feel like God's gift on earth, right? But I just want to like see myself as equal, which maybe I'm not there yet. Like I do make myself smaller than other people, so it's just like,
Can you see or believe that everyone is just you in a different life?
yeah, yeah, and yeah.
And
When
does it
I
matter?
literally, when I connect with my heart, it's not even everyone that I feel connected to. It's the trees, it's the
Everything.
wind, it's everything, man. And it's all the same. Hey, we're all equals, us and the trees. So that's a few things that I'm working on. That was a bit messy, but
No.
rejection, letting
Stop. See
go
what you
of.
said then? That was beautiful. It was perfect.
Mm. Cool.
I'm keen to keep you accountable to that. Being
Yeah,
vulnerable
yeah,
and not playing small.
yeah.
And I think that's a big one, man. Like you today said what you wanted.
Mm.
It's a huge
Yeah,
first step. I haven't heard you say that yet. So
yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
exciting.
Thanks for
I know
creating
it's
the
hard.
space.
I know it's hard, but
Mm. Yeah, even just to reflect inwards, right? It's tough. Yeah, it opens.
it's worth it.
Mm.
Step outside the box.
Step outside the box. Open yourself up to attacks.
The man in the arena.
The man in the arena. Epic. What's that from?
Brene Brown.
Yeah, Brene Brown. That's so
Power
cool.
of vulnerability.
Yeah, I love the warrior archetype. I think that's fun.
Would you rather be the man in the arena trying, challenging,
Mm,
creating? Or would you
mm.
rather be the critic throwing things, throwing
Yeah,
abuse, never
yeah,
doing anything with your life
yeah. We're there
except
with our
judging
like.
others?
Yeah, screw that, man. We're in there with our swords on, battling it out.
Exactly.
Mm,
The way of the warrior.
the way of the warrior. All right,
Thank
thank
you.
you very much for today. Appreciate it.
Love ya.
Love you.